You know, every story you've ever loved, a book, a movie, even your favorite song, well, they're all built on this hidden language. It's kind of like a secret code. And today, we're going to give you the key. We're going to unlock how writers create all that meaning that lives way beyond just the words on the page. You ready?
Okay, let's start with something super simple. Look at this. This is a pen. I mean, that's a literal, undeniable fact, right? It's an object you write with. And that's pretty much all there is to it.
Or is it? See, what happens when we start to look just a little bit beneath the surface of that simple statement? This is where the real magic of storytelling kicks in.
Because now it's not just a pen anymore. It's an idea. Suddenly, it represents the power of words, of knowledge, maybe even revolution. We haven't changed the object one bit, but we've completely transformed what it means. And that right there, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. How writers create all this meaning that goes way beyond the literal.
So it all starts at the smallest level, with a single word. I want you to think of a writer like a master chef. Every single word they pick is a specific ingredient, chosen very carefully for its unique flavor, all to create a very particular feeling or idea.
To really get this, we need to wrap our heads around two key concepts: denotation and connotation. Okay, so denotation, that's just the dictionary definition. Super straightforward, a bear is a large mammal. Simple fact. But connotation, that's the cloud of feelings and ideas that kind of hangs around the word. So when a writer uses the word bear, they're not just talking about the animal. They're bringing in feelings of danger, of raw strength, or maybe even fierce protection. And the best writers, they are masters at playing with both of these at the exact same time.
So, what happens when writers start stringing these powerful word choices together? Well, there's this really clever technique called a semantic field. The best way to think about it is like a curated playlist of words. They're all chosen from the same family with the goal of creating one consistent mood or atmosphere.
Just take a look at this semantic field of metals, for instance. If you read a story that's filled with words like gold and silver, it just feels radiant, right? Royal, valuable. But what if you switch those words out for iron and lead? Instantly, the whole atmosphere gets heavy, cold, industrial, maybe even oppressive. See? Same category, but a completely different world.
Okay, so we've got our building blocks, our words. Now let's see what happens when we actually start putting them together into sentences. We're literally going to build a sentence from the ground up just to see how writers can paint these incredible pictures in our minds.
All right, here's our base. Super simple, super clear. The spider spun a cobweb. I mean, it tells us what happened, but it doesn't really make us feel anything, does it? But now, watch what happens when we just add a couple of adjectives. A secretive spider. Whoa, suddenly it has a personality, maybe even a motive. Spun a silver cobweb. See? Now it's not just some dusty old web, it's delicate, it's precious, almost magical. Just like that, we've added detail and a whole new atmosphere.
And for the final touch, let's add an adverb to really supercharge that verb. It didn't just tremble, it trembled violently. Now you can feel it, right? There's a sense of danger, of fragility. And just like that, with only a few extra words, we've transformed a boring, simple sentence into a tiny little story all on its own.
Okay, let's get into the real heavy hitters of figurative language. First up, the metaphor. This one is all about direct, powerful comparison. It doesn't mess around saying something is like something else. Nope. It says it is something else. And in that one move, it transfers all of its qualities, just instantly.
For example, take this. Ahmed was a chameleon. Now, obviously, we know he isn't literally a reptile, but by saying he is one, the writer gives us this incredible shortcut. We instantly understand that he's adaptable, maybe a little untrustworthy, and that he's constantly changing to blend in with his surroundings. I mean, that's storytelling at its most efficient right there. All right, next up, we've got the metaphor's close cousin, the simile. It does a pretty similar job, comparing two things, but it's a little less direct. And here's the trick, the key giveaway words are always going to be like or as. So if you read, he strutted through the office in his new coat like a peacock, bam, you instantly get this picture of arrogance, pride, and this big, vibrant display. The simile helps us see not just what he's doing, but the whole attitude behind it.
Next on our list is personification, and there's a fantastic clue right there in the name, person. This is the technique of giving human characteristics or abilities to things that are, not human at all, like objects or animals.
Think about a phrase like, the trees reached out their long arms to touch the sky. Of course, we know trees don't have arms and they don't reach with any kind of intention, but phrasing it that way, it makes the whole scene feel alive, doesn't it? Almost like the trees are striving for something. It's a beautiful way to connect us emotionally to the natural world.
Okay, this next one is just plain fun. Onomatopoeia. It's basically the sound effect department of literature. It's any word that sounds like the very thing it's describing. And what it does is pull you directly into the sensory experience of a scene.
I mean, think about it. You don't just read the word quacked or splashed. You can almost hear it. The same goes for the rustle of the wind through the grass or the roar or even purr of a lion. These words kind of bypass the thinking part of your brain and go straight to your senses, which makes the whole story so much more immersive.
All right, so we've been looking at the tiny details, words and sentences. Now let's zoom all the way out to the big picture, the story's actual blueprint. This is where the writer really starts to act like a film director, controlling exactly what you see and, just as importantly, when you see it.
You know, the way a story begins can set the entire tone. A writer might just throw you right into the middle of the action. That's called in medias res. It's Latin for in the middle of things. That creates instant suspense. Or they might choose to ease you in with what's called exposition, where they carefully build the world and the characters before all the action really kicks off.
And just like a film director, a writer has this whole toolkit to guide our attention. They can zoom in on one tiny, crucial detail, like a ticking clock on a wall. They can suddenly shift focus, jumping to a totally different character in another city. They use foreshadowing, planting these subtle clues about what's coming later. And of course, they use flashbacks to reveal key moments from the past that can completely change how we see the present.
And finally, of course, there's the ending. Is the writer going to leave you on a cliffhanger, just hanging there at a moment of peak tension, making you desperate to know what happens next? Or are they going to give you a nice, neat resolution, tying up all the loose ends, and giving you that feeling of satisfying closure? Each choice is designed to leave you with a completely different feeling. So you see, this hidden language, it isn't really magic. It's a craft. It's a set of deliberate choices and really powerful tools. And now, that toolkit is yours. So I want you to think about the last story you absolutely loved. Go back to it. Because now, with these keys in your hand, what secrets, what hidden layers of meaning are just waiting there for you to uncover?